It's hard to maintain friendships when you can read people like you have telepathy, like you're a mind reader. And one of the ways that you can do this is with food. If you have had any friendship traumas, then you know how every single micro expression, micro action that someone does, you can read them like it's a superpower. And that's what friendship trauma has taught me over time. Just being hurt repeatedly by people, you notice certain patterns, and then you become aware that they might say certain things, and then you start looking for other things. Like, what's the look on their face? Are they really listening to me, or are their eyes somewhere else? What does their body language do? Do they move closer to me, or are they moving further apart from me? When I ask them a certain question, do they lean in, or did that completely just make them not interested? All these little things matter in how you read people. And what really matters to me now, as I am creating friendships today, is how people eat. It can tell me so much about them. And it also told me a lot about myself. There was one time back in college, me and one of my friends were on a fitness journey, and it was fun because we lived not too far from each other, and so we would take trips to the grocery store after the gym or just on a random day. And one day we went to the grocery store. We're just shopping around. We got our shopping cart. She has her little space for her stuff. I have my little space for my stuff. And she picks up something and turns it to the backside and starts telling me about how many calories there are in this food item or what she was looking at. And I was like, oh, you don't need to worry about that. Like, you don't need to count calories. That doesn't even matter. And she switched. Her whole demeanor switched. She got super defensive over that because to her, counting calories was very important. It was important for her to watch and be very specific about how many calories she was putting into her body, because she wanted to change her body based on calories. She thought that was the vehicle that was going to take her there. So me dismissing that was very offensive to her, and I could see that, and it was a trigger for her. And so that taught me something about her. Like, I could read this area of her life where I thought, okay, we're just going to the gym, we're getting fit, we're doing these things together, it's fine. But it was a little bit deeper for her than it was for me, in the way that she had to structure it. And some people may not have really cared about, like, if someone was in my situation and they didn't have friendship trauma or understand how to read people based on certain things, that situation may not have been anything. It might have been just like, oh, she just cared about calories, whatever. But for me, I could see how that was woven into her life as an important pillar. And I'm going to switch it around to me, because a lot of reading people has to do with reading yourself. If you can't read yourself and know how you behave, you can't accurately read other people. So there was one time I was in college again at one of my friend's apartments, and this was during the pandemic. So I was visiting her, and we had gotten some food, and I was hungry. Okay, so I was sitting at her little island table, and I was eating my food. And she was like, Kara, you do not have to eat that fast. Like, why are you eating so fast? You need to slow down. I took great offense to that. Excuse me? You telling me something about the way that I eat? Eating is very personal for a lot of us, especially women who have all these things being thrown at them about their bodies, about the way that they look, and food is connected to health, and health is connected to beauty. So it can be very triggering if someone says the right or wrong thing. And I paused. I was eating, and she said that, and I paused and I looked up at her, and I was like very self-conscious. And so I started eating slower, and I was like, wow, I felt really insecure in that moment. And it was a pivotal moment for me because that was one of the first times I realized that I eat mindlessly. I can eat very mindlessly, and a lot of us can. We eat really fast. We do not chew our food all the way, and then that can cause digestion issues. We don't breathe while we eat. We just and that's okay sometimes, but it's not okay all the time. We should be eating more mindfully. And there's this wonderful book that I read called The Yoga of Eating that talks about so many practices like this, where you can take some deep breaths before you eat, where you can chew all of your food that's in your mouth before you take the next bite, where you can eat in complete silence so that you don't have any distractions from your food. So there's little things like this. I would recommend that book. Check that out if you're someone who would love to change your relationship with food and eat more mindfully. And she noticed, my friend who called me out, that I was not eating properly, which back then it was like I could eat whatever I want. But today, sitting here, I'm grateful for that situation, because now if I do eat like that, I have awareness that I am. I have awareness. My favorite show is on. I got this Chinese food in front of me. It looks delicious. I just went to the gym. I'm hungry. I'm going to scarf this down. Or today has been really hard on me, so I'm actually going to take the time to eat mindfully, and I'm not going to watch TV, or if I do, I'm going to make sure that I eat very slowly. I'm going to put the fork down in between bites and make sure that I chew all of my food. And the way that this has expressed itself today, especially as I've learned about health and wellness and how we need to eat for our bodies because we can have allergies to certain things and things like that. It's amazing how I'll be talking to someone about food. Food comes up all the time. Food is a very mandatory part of our lives, and it's woven into everything. You go and meet a friend, you probably are getting something to eat, or you are getting something to drink at some point in the day. You're having a family or community event, there's going to be some food there, right? So today, if someone have, maybe they want to talk to me about something that's going on, I'm going to make up a scenario. A friend and I are going out to eat, and we go and order some appetizers at this place, and we're talking, and most of what they order is fried food, and they start telling me about how they started rock climbing, and it's been really hard. Like, they are so out of breath and everything. And while the two might not be connected, they probably are. Like, if you're eating a lot of fried food, it is probably going to have an impact on your circulatory and cardiovascular system. So it's going to make you more out of breath. Right? Like, I can see certain things in the way, not even just what people eat, but the way that they eat too. There's certain people who do not deny food. They're given food and that they eat it, period. Like, they don't have any standards about what goes into their bodies. And that can translate to relationships, right? Like they might be having a promiscuous time and don't have standards about what, as in guys, what men go into their body. And it's all connected. And it's very special. It's very beautiful when other people also have this inclination, this thing where they understand the power of food and how it affects our lives and our bodies. When I went back home to New York City for a few days, I went to this event by a magazine called Galconomist, and I actually have the most recent issue here. This is their May to July issue. That's their third one, and this is basically an issue on taste. It was their third issue I mentioned, and this is just a modern day women's magazine. Like, I just love that they're bringing this back. I would love to create a recipe and write a little snippet or article about how food is so intertwined in self-transformation for them. And so I went to their event and we talked about taste. What does taste mean to us? Which is such a loaded topic, and it was such a great intellectual conversation. And we were encouraged to bring something that represents taste for us. So I printed out one of my recipes and I brought it and I talked about it, and I talked about what taste meant for me and how it's an expression of yourself. And after I spoke, someone mentioned what I had said, and they said that they appreciated what I said because there are some people who eat just to eat. Like, they have a goal for their body, for example, and so they'll eat the same thing every day, and they're not really allowing themselves to be creative or really explore taste in that way. So you can think about this with the gym bros or gym sis who will eat like chicken breasts and rice every day because they have a goal. It's simple and it's easy for them to do that. Wow, that's cool. It's not for everyone, and it also really does show your taste. It shows your taste. You can't really help it. If there's anything that is a physical representation of taste, it's food, which actually is directly correlated to taste. And y'all, I can read people like crazy. It's crazy. Like, I am telepathic. And so ways that you can start to heal this relationship with food so that you can read yourself better and know more about yourself. There's this wonderful app called Chronometer, and it's science-backed nutrition tracking. They have a free version you can use. They also have paid. I used the free version for a while. I'm not someone who consistently tracks what I eat during this time of my life because it can get a lot, because sometimes you have to weigh certain things or realize how much of something you're putting in. Like, is it 1/4 of a cup of rice that you ate? Was that a 1/4 uncooked or 1/4 of a cup cooked? Right? So, but spending that time very intentionally, whether it's for a month or a year, where you are saying, I ate this much of this thing and this is how much nutrients that it's giving me. That's what the app tells you, which I think is pretty cool. It's telling you about your macros, like how much protein you've eaten, your calories. It also can tell you about your vitamins, like this has given you this much selenium, you've had this much iron today. And it's a great way to see if you don't have access to maybe getting blood work or something. you can look at what you're eating over time consistently and see like, oh, I don't actually get that much copper in my regular eating life, so I should increase that. And then you can start to log that, and it's so cool. And I genuinely, like, now that it's back on my mind, this app, I'm probably gonna go back and use it again as I'm being more intentional with fitness these days, because body has been tea, but we want the body to be more tea. Okay, we want it to be hotter, stronger, maybe even coffee. I heard someone say like body coffee because tea not strong enough. Speaking of tea, I have some roasted dandelion tea here. So good. But yeah, that app is amazing. And when it comes to any type of healing, you need a structure around it. You're gonna cry, yes, you're gonna have those emotional times where you have to sit with yourself, but when it comes to actually like taking the next step and getting over that phase, you gotta sit down, you gotta track, you gotta write, you gotta ask the deep questions. You might even have to talk to other people about what you're feeling, because, and this can be hard for us people with friendship trauma, because they can help. Because they know, they can see the situation from another lens. Another way that you can heal, if you have access to being able to leave your environment and see how your eating changes there, and see how actually other people's eating changes in a new environment and how that can impact you, is so special. I've talked about on my channel before how I went to Curacao for a month, and it changed my life forever. It changed my life completely. It changed the way that I eat, and it changed me even the way that I dressed, because I was wearing the same clothes repeatedly because I didn't really have access to a washer and dryer that I usually have access to. There was a laundry service that I could use, but I would just wash my stuff in the sink, like get my detergent, scrub it up, soak, and then hang it up outside. It was hot enough, the clothes would be dry. And I ended up just not wanting to have that many clothes to wear and wash all the time. So I would wear like the same few dresses, the same few pajamas over and over again. And that is a tribute to minimalism. And it actually makes me think about how that person at the taste event mentioned how people would eat the same thing. I could see how you could fall in love with eating the same thing over and over again, and that's your taste in that moment because it just fits your lifestyle at that time. And the way that it changed how I eat is because there was different food available, and also I didn't have the convenience of just having my fridge there with everything that I eat, the same ingredients as I have here in America. Actually, there was pretty much the same ingredients, but also like I was dealing with so many other things that food, the way that I prioritize food changed. I still was eating very healthy, but I would eat a lot of the same things and kind of switch up the way that I made it. So if I had quinoa and pasta, I might be having the same vegetables for those dishes, but making it different ways. And then like going out to eat was a treat, and the culture was different, so I had access to different things that I would have to really search for here. And it calmed my nervous system down. It made me think about like how fast I can be moving and how that can translate to food. and how much we desire to produce in our normal habitats. And then when you change your habitat, you get in that Airbnb, you chill, you don't have the resources you usually do, you still find a way and you adapt. And that reflects in your palate too. Like, you're not about to be eating the same things that you do at home when you're traveling. It's just different. And changing the way that you relate to food, it helps you to read yourself. And that's ultimately where healing lives, in being able to read yourself. How else are we going to get to the next level that we desire to be at? How else are we going to know what we need, right? Like, you can't listen to everybody else. They don't know you. They don't know what's really going on. But when you can read yourself, you'll be alright. And then you'll also be able to read other people, which is pretty cool. And I think that this is a testament, this as in this idea of being able to read people through food is just, through food and other means, is a testament to how you can make your trauma a superpower. If I had not had these interactions with people taking me for granted, treating me bad, telling me all of these things, I wouldn't have the superpower of telepathy. Am I always right? No. Am I really a mind reader? No. No one has that. I actually had a conversation with someone who believes that there's people out there who can actually read minds. And as someone who's kind of close to that, I would say no. Because as much as I can read people's eyes and eyebrows and nose and just everything that they do, I can't actually get up here and really get up here and like extract what's in there or see what's in there. Now, anything is possible. So maybe there are mind readers. I don't know. But using food as a way to read yourself and read other people can transform your relationship with yourself and other people and elevate your life. Because when it comes to yourself, you'll be able to know exactly what you need. If you're in a season where you're craving sugary things all the time, you're not getting outside to fulfill that void, you can read that. Like, hey, I'm eating all these sweets and stuff. I probably need some more love somewhere else. When it comes to other people, you might see someone who goes to the same place every day and they sit down for work and they order the same thing, and it's like, it's super cute. Like, you can read that, hey, this person really treasures and values this cortado, which is a little cup of coffee. And you can read, like, they might be a person that likes quaint little things and is sentimental or something. So start noticing how people around you are eating, and also, how are you eating? That's my question for you today. How are you eating? And what is that telling you about yourself? Stay golden.